Welcome to another tutorial of Proflan YouTube channel. In this particular video, we're going to have a discussion on the kind of question that you expect to do in AQA GCSE Math Paper 3, the calculator paper. And as you can be able to see here, we have 1 hour 30 minutes for the paper, and we're going to look at main areas that you really need to prepare as far as this exam is concerned. If you're new to Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to upload more tutorials, you'll be notified. Now let's dive in so that we can be able to look at areas that you need to look at. One of the areas that you need to focus on is probability. Maybe you can be given a question here, a dice is rolled 150 times, and the probability that it lands on a 6 is 0.38. So if you are asked to work out the probability does not land on the 6, it's going to be 1 minus 0.38, and then you get 0.62. Then to get the number of number of times it does not land on a 6, you'll take the 150 times the probability it does not land on that. You can also be given a question to do with sequence, whereby you are expected to state or to come up with the expression for the nth term. Also, maybe you can be given also a sequence with nth term formula. Then you are supposed to come with the number of a given term. So I believe you're ready to do such kind of questions. So moving further, another area that you need to look at also is expanding and simplifying brackets. And in this case, you can see in our case here, we have 3 brackets, which means you can multiply 2 brackets, whereby you're going to multiply the term x with everything that is in the second bracket, and -3 multiplied to everything that is in the second bracket as shown here. You expand also, you have to ensure you remember how to put the like terms together. Be keen with the signs whenever you are expanding, and then you are going to put the like terms together for you to solve that, and the expression will become as shown here. So you are supposed to pay close attention how you expand, and also don't forget to look at the signs so that you don't end up making a mistake in the process of opening the bracket in such kind of question. You will be given a question on it, also a question to do with the time and the speed. For instance, here we are told that on Monday, Riley swims 50 meters in 40 seconds. Then we can be able to work out the speed on that Monday will be 50 divided by the time in seconds. And also on Tuesday, we are told on Tuesday swims 1.5 kilometers, and he swims the same constant speed. So we are supposed to calculate the time now here. So we are going to say time is going to be distance over speed. But you have to convert the kilometers to meters before you substitute to use this constant speed that was at this given point. So once you do that, you are going to get time on Tuesday will be 20 minutes, or you get first time in seconds. Then you are going to convert 1,200 seconds to minutes in that case. On Tuesday, Raleigh swims at a slower constant speed than on Monday. What does this mean about the number of minutes? The number of minutes or the time is going to be greater. The time taken is going to be more, because whenever you are moving at a lower speed, you are going to take longer time. So that is something that you have to put into consideration, and that is something that you have to remember whenever you are working out question to do with speed and time. Another area that you really need to look at is angle properties, circle theorem, angle properties in a triangle, parallel lines, and also in triangles. You will be asked questions to do with that. And you can see here candidates who are given points on a circle, and then we have a triangle inside here. This angle that we have here, this is angle in alternate segment, is going to be equal to this angle that we have here. But now DCB is a straight line, then this angle here is going to be 180 minus this value that we have here, and that value is what? 56 degrees. So candidates were told, Sam is trying to work out the size of angle M here. Here is this working. Said angle in the same segment are equal. So the mistake here, the student could have said that angles in alternate segments are the same, and angle in a straight line add up to 180 for you to earn that one particular mark. Also, you are expected to know question to do with volume of a cylinder and the volume of a sphere. At the same time, you really have to remember how to work out question to do with what? Question to do with the surface area of this solid shape, so that whenever you're going to be given a question, you will be in a position to answer. I'm quite sure that these questions to do with volume, surface area of a sphere or a cylinder or a cone are areas that you'll be highly tested, so you have to be in a position to answer that. For instance, here we were told that volume of C is equals to volume of S, so you are supposed to say volume of a cylinder is equals to volume of a sphere, and then you are supposed to substitute and cancel out, and the ratio is going to be R ratio H, which is going to be 3 is to ratio 4. A different cylinder has a radius of this and the height this. So meaning that for us to know how many times the cylinder is larger than the how many times the volume of the cylinder that is having this radius and height this is larger than this the volume of C that we are having here, you are going to substitute R3R and 2H into this particular part, so that you can be able to get the new volume, and the new volume is going to be 18 pi R squared H, and then you can now be able to divide with the initial volume, which is pi R squared H, so that you can get your answer as shown there. And I also brought the aspect of the use of SOHCAHTOA and the Pythagoras theorem. That's another area that we are quite sure that you'll be tested. How to find a missing side, how to find angle in a triangle using SOHCAHTOA at the same time using Pythagoras theorem. So that's why I brought this question, whereby you are told use trigonometry to work out the size of angle W. We are using SOHCAHTOA. We are using trigonometry to work out the size of angle W. You can see for W, opposite, we don't have that side. We have hypotenuse, and also we have adjacent. So meaning that you can be able to say this adjacent and hypotenuse, then we can be able to use cos. Cos W is equals adjacent of hypotenuse, which is going to be W is equals to the cos inverse of 6.4, it's 6.7 over 8.3. And then if you crunch that into your calculator, you're going to get your answer as 36 degrees. So meaning that angle W there is 36 degrees. So in this, you can be asked to find a missing side, or you can be able to use trigonometry to find a missing angle. Also, I also brought in question number 8, so that I can be able to show you how you can be able to make use of trigonometry to work out the missing side. So you see, we are given this angle 58 degrees, then this is the opposite side, and then adjacent. So which means that we can use tan. Tan is opposite of adjacent. Tan is opposite of adjacent. So our adjacent is 46, opposite is x. So we can be able to say tan 58 is equals to that. So if we solve that, we're going to get 74. So this is also another area that is quite important to work out. Don't forget to review solving equations. You can be told to solve an equation like this, or the equation that we have below here involving fractions. So to begin with this equation that we have at this particular point here, the first thing that you need to do is to open the bracket and put the like terms together. Once you have put the like terms together, now you can see it will become a quadratic equation. Then you can factorization, or you can use a quadratic formula for you to find the value of x. So I used factorization. Once I got this, I wanted to know what's I need to find two numbers whose sum is 15 and whose product 2 times 18 will give us 36, and this product is 36. So if you take 12 plus 3 will give us 15, but 12 times 3 is going to give us 36. So I was quite confident that those two numbers are the best numbers which I can use to split the middle term. So if I want to split the middle term, I'm going to say 12x plus 3x, and then I can now group them together. I do factorization that given point. And if you work it out, you are going to get negative 1.5, and you are going to get 6. Then you can also be given a question. And then you are going to use and then we are going to use LCM of 2 and 5 here. You multiply all through by all the terms. Of course, if you cancel this, you're going to get 5, and you cancel 5 and 10. 5 and 10, you are going to get 2 here. Then you are going to open the brackets. For each case, this is going to be 1, this is going to be 5. So you open the brackets, you put the like terms together, you are going to get your final answer being x is equals to negative 6. You can also be expected to work out a question to do with an area of a triangle. For you to find area of a triangle, we can say area of a triangle is equals to what? Is equals to a half AB sine theta. So that's when you are given one angle and then the two sides that are forming that particular angle that you are using. A and B are the two sides that are forming the angle that you are using there. And if it was a right angle triangle, you can say base. If it was a triangle that is having base and height, you can be able to use half base times height. But now in our case here, I had to use a sine rule. Of course, first I wanted to find angle A. I find an angle A, which is 180 minus 73 minus 56. So I got here 52. And so I have to check that value that we have here, because we don't want to make a mistake. I feel that there's some error there. So that's going to be 52. No, that is 56 plus 73. Then 180 minus answer, that is going to give us 51. So this is going to be 51. And then whenever we are going to find the missing side, so we shall say this is 51 here. So if that is 51, we can say A over 51, I need to change that, is equals to 24 over 73. So I'll have to put here 51. Then I cancel that. I say 24 times 51. Sorry. 24 times sine 51 divided by sine 73, which is going to translate to 19.5. So if I have 19.5, which means that this is 19.5, that is the side here, then I can be able to use this side and this side here to find area of the triangle. So this is going to be 24 times 19.5. So I have to cancel this guy here so that I can be able to put in that this is going to be 0.5 times 24 times 19.5 sine 56, and then that is going to give us 193. So basically I think that was an error that had to be corrected, so that we can be able to move to the next part. So this one, remember, we have converted that. It's going to be 194 because of the rounding off. So this is 194. Well, need also to prepare on how to answer question to do with graphs. Completing the table of the quadratic graph or a straight line is very important, so that you can be able to easily plot their points. And in the event that you are asked to find the solution, you are going to read your graph here, where the graph cuts the x-axis, if you are asked to find the solution to this. So that's also another area that they may ask you. You can also be given question and then you are expected to use cosine rule. This is the use of cosine rule to find a missing side. So for you to find Q, we are going to apply cosine rule, and that is exactly what you are supposed to do there. So you need to be prepared and ready to do question to do with cosine rule. Then compound interest and appreciation, all simple interest question. You can be told, like for instance, here we are told that Tia has £5,000 which invest for 3 years. Then we have two banks. The first bank, the amount can be invested at 2% compound interest for the 3 years. Bank B, we have 4% interest for the first year and 1% compound interest for the preceding all the other years. So you can see for bank A, you are going to take 5,000 into 1 plus 2.5 over 100 raised to power 3. Then you get the total value direct. But for bank B, you'll do the first year at that rate. You get this value that you'll have here. Then this amount that you have at this point, you can use it as the principal for the next year, the next stage. So that's why you can see I used it at this point, but now we are going to use the rate of 1 raised to power 2 because we have done first year. Then the bit that's remaining is the next 2 years. So if you work it out, you'll get your answer being 5305. So which bank is going to offer more interest? We are going to subtract the two amount, and then we're going to have 79 as such. 79 as such. Then we have also question to do with functions. You can be told to work out composite function. You can see here we are told that to show that f g of x is equals to that. So meaning that in anywhere you have x in the function f, you are going to substitute what g of x is. So f, we have x squared. So meaning you are going to take 2x plus 4, you square it, plus 6 into bracket 2x plus 4. So that means anywhere you have x in the function f, you are going to substitute what g is, and g is 2x plus 4. Then if you simplify, you are going to get your answer like that. So once you have gotten fg of x, then to solve this equation, you are going to take this expression that we have here, we equate it to -5, and then you make a quadratic equation, whereby now you can be able to solve that quadratic equation using a quadratic formula as you've been taught, so that you can be able to get your two values, -2.5 and -4.5, as the answers for that. So what I'm bringing your attention as you are preparing for this exam, make sure that you have prepared on how to solve composite function and also even inverse of functions, as I'm going to show you in the next stage. Expansion, we have already mentioned how you can be able to handle questions to do with expansion, but I need to mention that whenever you multiply values of the same base, you are going to add the powers. So meaning that this is actually going to be, you are going to multiply this is going to be what? This is going to be 6x squared times x. This is going, no, this is a crisis. This is a crisis. Yeah, so if you open this bracket, 6 times 1 will be just 6. but x squared times x cubed is going to be x power 5. So that's going to be that. So be keen guys, be keen. And then another area that you may be tested also is question to do with inverse proportion and direct proportion. Very commonly asked question. You are told h is inversely proportional to the cube root of L. H is inversely, you have to say 1 over cube root of that number that you are told. But if you are told directly, you just write that expression. But if it's inverse, you must put 1 over that. Then you introduce the constant to remove the sign of proportionality. Now you can be able to substitute what you are given. When h is 7, when L is 64. So which means you are going to say h7 is equals to k over cube root of 64. Then you can now be able to find the constant, which we are going to replace here, and we shall have our equation as shown at this given point. You can also be told now, after you have gotten that value, you can be told to work out the value of a given letter. For instance, work out h when L is 2744. Since we know k, our k is basically 28 of h is equals 28 over cube root over L. Then we can now replace that L with the value that we are told. We find the cube root. If you work it out, you are going to get 2. So you need to be aware of that. You need to work on that kind of questions as you are preparing for that particular exam. Don't forget also to look at composite functions and also inverse functions. So you can see now we are told inverse of f of x is equal to g f of x. Already we have seen how you do this, because you go to the function g where you have x, you replace f of x. The expression for f of x is this. So anyway, you have x here, you replace 1 over 2x, and then that is exactly what I did at this given point. You can see I did it here. I said this is x, but instead of writing x, I replace with f of x. I have it well seated here, and also I had to square because x is squared in this given point. You have this, and also for you to find the inverse of f of x, you'll start by writing f of x as y is equals to a half x. Then you switch x and y. What does that mean? Where you have x, you write, where you have y, you write x, where you have x, you write y. Switching x and y, and then make y the subject of the formula that is going to give you the inverse function. And now you equate inverse function to the composite function. You'll have a quadratic equation, and then you can see now once I have this quadratic equation, I can factorize, and by factorization I'll have x is equals to 0 or x plus 6 is equals to 0, and we shall have our answers well stipulated there. Finding equation of a line and equation of perpendicular line. So we are told that a line A has this equation. B is perpendicular to A. So from this equation, you can say y is equals to mx minus plus c. So meaning the gradient of this line is 4. So the gradient of the perpendicular line is going to be minus negative 1 over 4. So that minus negative 1 over 4 times 4 is going to give us negative 1, because we know that the product, or if you multiply the gradient of two perpendicular lines, we are going to get negative 1. So that's why you can see, if I know the gradient of one line is 4, the other gradient is going to be negative 1 over 4. Then since I know where that perpendicular line passes, I can be able to say now, for I to find the equation of that line, I'll say y minus y1, whereby y1 and x1 are the points you are given where the line passes. This is the x1 and this is the y1. And the m is the gradient. So we know the gradient, which is negative 1 over 4. You can substitute there. Y minus 5 and x minus 8. You can be able to get the equation. But you are told find the coordinates of the point equation B intersect x-axis. We have the equation of B. Equation of B. This is the equation of B. But where does it intersect the x-axis? it intersects the x-axis. It intersects I just need to do some setting here, so I need to do some few changes. There's something I need to change a little bit. Yeah, so I needed to do some adjustments here, but I think now I'm already done with that. So once you've gotten the equation, you now work out the point where it cuts the x-axis. So something that you need to remember, at the x-axis, y is equals to 0. At the x-axis, y is 0. So substituting y0 at this equation, you can be able to find the value of x, and that's going to be 28. And the coordinate will be 28, 28, 0 as the final coordinate. Vectors is also another area that you really need to look at, because it might be asked. So check through what you're supposed to do in vectors. Factorizing and finding the mean, also have introduced that area here, because sometimes you may be given you are told the mean is 10, the range is 19, and then you are given a set of numbers for you to work out the two. You are asked to work out the two numbers. Now here I said that let the two numbers be a and b. Then if we add 12 plus 7 plus 15 plus 3 plus a plus b over 6, it's going to give us 10. So you can see now that if you add 12, 7, 15, and 3, that's going to give us 37. Plus a plus b over 6. If I multiply by 6 both sides, I'm going to get 60. So meaning that if I subtract 37, a and b will be an equation that I'm going to have. And then I have been told the range is 19. The range is 19. So I started thinking about range is basically a difference of two numbers. So which means that for I to get 19, I can have numbers like 21 and 2. So 21 plus 2 give me 23. Remember, a plus b must give you 23, but also it must give you a difference of 19, as 21 will be the largest number and 2 will be the smallest number. So I settled that this number, this is just trial and error for I to get those two numbers. And question number 22, if you are given a table like this and you are expected to find the probability of a given section, and also you are supposed to work out the missing term, you can be able to say, if you add everything that you have here, the probability must add up to 1. So you are going to form an equation by adding everything that we have in this table, and you say that is equals to what? Equals to 1. Then if you put the like terms together and solve using algebra, you are going to get the value of k. But since they wanted us to work with the probability for b, you are going to go and substitute the value of k into this part, and then you will get the exact value of what the probability of b is. And don't forget to look at how to solve simultaneous questions, either linear simultaneous equations or nonlinear simultaneous equation. And in this case, you see I was having a nonlinear simultaneous equation here. So I substituted this part that I have here into where I have y. I use substitution. method. Then I put the like terms together. I formed a quadratic equation, which I solved by factorization for I to get the value of x to be -2 and x is equals to 1. Once I've gotten the value of x, now I can go to this equation again. I find the value of y. When x is -2, what's going to be the value of y? I worked it out and I was able to get the two coordinates as shown there. And if you have gotten value from Proflan YouTube channel, consider subscribing so that anytime I'm going to add more tutorials, you'll be notified. Don't forget to look at areas like making subject of the formula. That's another gray area that you may be asked. So remember for this section here, we want to make x the subject. So the first thing I was to do, I was to remove this square root by squaring both sides. I'll have y squared is equals to x over 2 plus 1. Then I'll take 1 on the other side. All right, then I multiplied all through. Okay, I took 1 on the other side so that I had y squared minus 1. Then I multiplied by 2, and by that way I've made x the subject of the formula. We've already done question to do with factorization. I believe at this particular point you can be able to see how to factorize that. Don't forget to look at statistics, how to find the mean of group data, and also how to draw histograms. And for you to draw an histogram, you need the frequency density. And frequency density is going to be frequency divided by the class width. So class width is going to be 5 minus 0, 15 minus 5, 25 minus 15, you get 10 here, 50 minus 25. And then now those class width divided by the frequencies so that we can be able, you can be able to find those frequency densities. So once you get the frequency density, will be along this particular section, and on the x-axis you have the heights, and then you plot them as shown there. This is our frequency, our histogram, well stipulated, well illustrated there. Question to do with ratios, I'll be able to create time and be able to complete that. Question to do with direct and inverse variation, already we have discussed that. If you like to download this particular paper, just check the link in the description so that you can be able to download it in order to work it out. So probability is also an area that is very, very key, that you may be expected to answer a question. And you can see here we were told that a test consists to section A and B. We have section A and section B. Section 80% of the people pass section A, so those who fail will be 15%. If 85% passes, those who fail will be 15%. And 78 of the people who pass section A pass section B. So meaning if you pass 78, so what's remaining? 1 minus 78, 0.78, you get 0.22. And for those people who fail, the probability, 36% who failed section also failed section B. So meaning if this group failed, the probability of failing will be 0.36. So it will be 1 minus 0.36 to know the probability of passing. So you can see here that if somebody fails, chances of passing are a little bit high because this person is going to work extra harder. So we have part B. I've tried to show you how to work it out. Mine is just to wish you the best of luck. Don't forget to subscribe, also check in the link in the description so that you can be able to access the main paper.